Good evening, everybody. It's great to see all of you back again. It's been a little while. Haven't had a chance to catch up, discuss some comic books, all you comic freaks in the chat. So I know you're ready to get wild and dirty with some CG Slums material. So today we're talking about Rift Riders. It's a book from Piper, Luke Stone, are the creators, and Dillard Druid. So I know all of you are looking forward to that. And welcome. Let's jump into the chat, say hello, get the panel on, and get things going. We've got Shifter representing for the Ducks. So welcome, Shifter. F off well read, of course, going with the retro nomenclature here. Jade. Oh, sorry. I'm distracted by a J in the back. Somebody's been Jing in the back. John Delarose, the other J, says, end the stream. It's never quite the same coming out of John's mouth. It's just not testify. But John's been trying for 2 years to do his very best testify impression. I mean, he'll get it eventually, I guess. Matt C, he's late, but we're all late, so it's quite all right. Wilberforce wants to know where his historical African book is. I don't know. I mean, is that really a history that you want covered, Wilberforce? I guess you're going to have to talk to one of the other panel members. They're an expert on African history and culture. Again, another J. Here's another J. The hell, all these J's. We've got Jack Stafford saying ahoy. Welcome, Jack. I haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for being in the chat. We've got Darko. He's waiting for this stream to go nuclear so all the handies can rule the world. He prays. So, yeah, we'll see. One day, all the handicapped people will rule the world, and their leader will be, of course, Dark Gift Comics. He wanted to review this one. Would have asked Dark Gift, but we thought maybe if you're friends with Piper, and not that none of us are, it's just maybe you know her a little bit better. That might have been not the best thing, but you can definitely come on after, give us a few quick points. We're not discouraging, your perspective on it. Just wanted to get, a review where people are not associated with her out of the way first. We've also got a Lasmat. He says, Malin says you don't exist, William Red. No CG shows on Sunday, according to John Malin. Well-read reviews was all a dream. Yes. Was all a dream. All my dream, of course. Adventures of Piper. She's already ready, anticipating the stream. Fowler's here. Shigama. Great to see you, Fowler. Thank you for joining us. Snuggy. I'm looking forward to Twitless's bad takes. Twitless isn't on every show. And he's not on tonight. So we've got a few other people joining us, and they're going to give their takes. So let's see. We got who else? Bold Cat Studios. Welcome. Great to see you. So, all right, everybody. Let's bring on the panel. I've already been drinking, and I'm exhausted. I spent the whole day at the beach, so it's going to be good. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let everybody say whatever they want. Make a total mess of the stream. Burn it down. I don't care. Here's the fire starter. Please welcome Mr. Autism. Yeah. Trying to be cute, huh? We know what you're up to. All right.
That's something a gay man would say.
To tame the flame, we have Matt C.
So glad to be here. So glad to be here. This is going to be good. Grift Riders.
Grift Riders. Thank you very much for that. That's getting memed. And to add fuel to the fire, of course, we have Pepsi Shine.
You didn't say my name right.
Pepsi Shine.
Never mind.
Why don't you guys take a stab at it? Clearly, I'm Mr. Autism tonight.
The Pepsi Shine.
I mean, it's closer.
Yeah, the Italian flair really kicks it over the top.
Okay. Thanks for driving this joke into the ground, Pepsi Shine. We've got Darko pointing out the obvious. J-tism. Yes, we've got some tism.
It's the
on
best
there.
of the tisms.
Yes, indeed.
The J-tisms.
So your intro was ungodly boring.
Which one, the music or me talking?
Talking.
Well, I got to say hi to the chat. You don't like that?
more enthusiasm.
He doesn't have any.
Yeah. I mean, I got to work up to enthusiasm. And that's a pretty steep hill to climb. I honestly want some non-adults to review it too. Well, I mean, that's why we have Jay Dollar here. So
You could have one of your kids come in and review it, I guess.
Yeah, I could. I don't know how quick a read they could pull off.
I mean, Jay Dollar's kids.
Oh, well, he doesn't know where his kids
read
are.
it. My daughter would read it.
Oh, there you go.
Definitely more aligned for children, for sure.
Is that your complete review?
That is all.
All right. I
Are
guess
we reviewing it already?
Yeah, I mean, why not? You know, you're already jumping into it.
Summary takes. Everybody go. You know.
The way Diller drew all the eyes. The way Diller drew all the eyes was like.
That's not a summary.
Scary.
We're gonna have to
I guess it's
work.
something. So
we're gonna have to work Jay Dollar into giving an actual review. Like this is gonna be kind of a mess.
No, I like his just random comments. It makes it more spicy.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Never change. Jay-tism.
Never.
Felnet is here. Welcome.
What's up, Mr. Canada?
I think Matt C should give a summary of the book.
Oh, we're doing like a legit summary.
Can I do a summary? Can I do the history of Riff Riders? Can I do that?
Yeah,
you can do whatever you like.
Yeah,
sure.
So we're going to take a time machine back to I think it was I guess they launched this in September, right? Of 2022. And we didn't have Fund My Comic yet. Luke Stone, I think he was working on that. Okay, that's about all I have. People were talking about figuring out how to get into the anime market, and I think that speaks to the eyes question. People were talking about how to get to all ages markets in 2022.
Well, what's her face? Piper, she says it was designed for children from the get-go. So
yeah. So that's kind of cool. So that's part of the context of the offering here.
My daughter will actually read a whole comic book. When I was a kid, I fucking didn't read nothing. I just looked at the art. And well, I know it's all ages, but it's clearly the art and how you spoke about it early on was, it's an all ages book, but it's clearly designed for children, especially in the art style. Like I don't think I've seen Diller draw this way before.
Well, I've never seen him draw a smile before, so yeah, that's different.
You said mild or wild?
I've never seen him draw a smile before.
Bitch, I can't hear you. Speak up.
No.
Actually, we did gloss over something.
Disaster.
So Pepsi Shine, how about you take a stab at a full summary of the entire book?
So the premise of the story is these are multiverse explorers, I guess you could say. They have a little ship. They can go to various timelines, and they have adventures. There you go.
Okay.
That's
let's get back to
summary.
talking. Let's get back to talking about the smiles now.
The smiles.
So do you guys remember the piece of the puzzle of the history of wrist riders?
Rift Riders.
Let's go back to Grift Riders. What was the okay, so I remember that they were so this is an authentic CG slum, and I say that as a CG like a slummer. This is an offering like from like our crew, right? Yeah. Our socioeconomic level. Maybe a little on the I mean by now I'd say they were probably like lower middle class, but there was some drama back then about how I don't remember what it was, but like there was something about Ethan, and people were talking about platforming and whether or not you should ask for platforming or something. But at some point, At some point, Ethan was just like, "I'm just gonna bring these guys on," and he got them to 10K. I don't know if you guys remember that, and I don't remember what the context was for that. Like, I'm not insinuating anything, but like, I just remember that was like a feature of the conversation in late 22. But I don't know if you guys remember more to that.
Well,
Maybe Piper from the chat can speak to that too.
Well, no, Piper has a base, Luke has a base, and Dillard has a base, and it was promoted for like the whole time it was talked about. Anthony, I think, spoke about it.
That's right. It was
Well,
Fowler's, right? It was
I
buy
understand.
one, back one. There was like there was a movement to kind of like bootstrap each other. I don't know, to kind of figure out how the slums can be healthier, right?
Matt, what are you talking about?
No,
Wow, Jay Dollar asked that question. I don't know, Matt. You might
buy
have
one,
gone
back
way
one's
off the wall.
dead. I don't know. I haven't heard of it in like 8
Dan
months.
asked before he came on the stream. He's like,
Okay,
Uh,
listen, I had one blue moon.
Jolly
I'm not
Green
drinking.
says you're just making shit up now.
We might be.
Piper can explain it if you're interviewing her later. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Should be.
yeah. So I mean, to get back on the book, it's like you remember that movie Kroll, where he threw like the ninja star thing that shot out the little blades on the end? Kroll, Krull. Like it had like that style. Like it had. Granted, they all knew each other, but it still had that type of feeling. I thought of Kroll and the storytelling, like the adventure. Still, the eyes are getting to me, but the adventure of the story. So, like, you can tell Piper has done a good job at, watching movies with like these style, like all ages. You know what I'm saying? Like a PG-13 style story. Like she, so that was quite well. And at the end, but there was an annoying thing besides the eyes. Is like I don't know who did the coloring, but like this, it was far too common for like the style gray background in the spaceships through all the and then towards the end you see the jungle, so there's a whole different type of color. And I actually thought so it almost felt like it was done on purpose, even though I know it wasn't. And then when you flip to like the last pages, there's far more color.
So here's the first page. So you think this looks too washed out? Is that what you're trying to say, Jay Dollar?
Yeah, all this space shipping, when they're actually in the gray, not in the first few pages when they're clearly in a dark room. Well, actually, kind of, you can bring that up. Like it's there, you can tell there's more emphasis on the background coloring in these pages.
Can we talk about the detail on that foot? Speaking of shipping, Piper, did you do reference for this panel here? Just let us know in the chat. Thanks.
I will say more generally, this first page is good, getting you into the story, because you're on a spaceship, but you have 20s clothing. Now you can read it and it explains it more, but it kind of already gives you the sense, these are futuristic people that travel at least through time. So I think it's a decent page getting you into what the story is about. They explain it, it's not just time, but it's like timelines. But I think this is decent to immediately get you into what the story is going to be about.
I know, right? I didn't notice the feet, and Matt immediately talked about feet. Well, as Matt points out, a good thing.
Oh, okay.
Matt C, foot fetishist. Confirmed.
That was I was helping out Matt. I know he was thinking it, so I was just saying what he was thinking.
Okay, Matt C, since you noticed so much, explain to me this perspective. What is going on here? Because this first panel did leave me confused. Like, this is fine, the seats are fine, but then is she climbing an invisible staircase? What is going on here? Yeah,
I there is kind of a I didn't mind it because it's consistently done, and the context, like it does feel like a kid's comic, which Piper confirms that's the goal here.
All
But yeah,
ages. Yes.
yeah, there's some panels that are more referenced, and that kind of helps the perspective on the people, and there's some panels that are more he just
They
kind
would
of
like to draw that kid's head a lot in certain panels.
It's not a kid.
Yeah.
It's an adult human.
Flip to the pages where there's gray, like from the ship.
Gray from the ship. Oh boy. This maybe.
I don't, just something when they're in a ship.
I've got one.
No, you share crap, Elise.
Another thing too. There's
You
no
mean
like
like this?
dialogue paneling in this.
Gray in the
No,
ship.
that's
the exact same one I picked.
To face first page. I'm trying to talk about my example.
I'm asking you, is this your an example?
No, it's the same color as the first page.
You said gray ship.
Yeah, where it's light gray. Excuse me. Are you on drugs or drinking as well?
No, but you certainly are. Okay, here's different colored gray.
Thanks
Yeah,
for doing
I
this, by the way,
honestly-
$8.
Jesus
I
Christ.
thought the
Same fucking page. All right,
Is
I'm
that
gonna
the
check.
the gray you were talking about?
You're being a prick on purpose.
Wait, you asked to see the interior of the ship, right?
Yeah, and he keeps picking the dark gray pages on purpose.
Well, what did you want to see?
What other gray is there?
do,
I feel like
Jay
he's thinking
Chisholm,
of a different
he's agreeing
different
with you.
comic.
I'm confused.
Yeah,
I have
just
no
just
idea
tell him
what he
he's
wants.
right. Maybe he'll stop
You're
talking.
spot on.
See, you've even confused Piper, Mr. Autism. I didn't even get what he's talking about.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
no,
don't.
Well, he
We don't
said
know.
early, and then he said interior, and he said gray. Yet somehow none of those grays are correct. Do you mean the gray of the space outside?
Just forget it. Let's move on.
Oh no, we're in a cul-de-sac. How do we get
Yeah.
out of this?
All right. So, tell me about the protagonists of this story. Is it about a crew of small children? Is there an adult involved as well?
Yeah, there's 3 child Mossad agents.
Oh,
That's
very
not
much
really
like-
clear why.
like this
But
screen.
the main character is named Israel, so that's all you
Yeah,
need to know on
that's
that.
him. And he's not
No.
a child. Apparently, he's a very short human.
Okay. And what about the other characters? Don't all speak at once.
The brutish guy, he was kind of cool. He was kind of rude to the guy that I think is a kid, but he's a midget. I guess that guy.
Yeah, would you say like he's like the counter in a way where he's like, I don't know about this.
He's
He's
like the
that
thing,
guy.
You know what I'm saying? I guess that's the quickest name. He has that, you know what I mean, of the Fantastic Four. He's like the thing of the Fantastic Four.
He's the strong man, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like an ogre or an orc, perhaps.
And the woman?
Matt C.
I don't like I'd say like the more energetic of the. I don't know. I wouldn't say bubbly, but she's like the happy. Well, she's kind of like the guy in that they're both very confident that they can solve problems, but she's adding a feminine side to that.
Yeah, I thought there was a good balance. Like it's a strong little male character, like the toaster that could mentality, and then like the girl was like the strong princess. You know, they had those personalities. I see what you're saying. I agree with that. Like no one seemed like they were weak peasants.
So if it's a children's story and it's featuring all adult characters, tell me
It's
a little
an
bit
all
about
ages story.
All right, all ages story. My apologies. Tell me about the tone of the story.
Let's assume he's like a child, just like the way he's depicted.
Well, I mean, I'm going by the cover when I make that assumption.
Even on the cover, he kind of looks like. Um,
Yeah. I thought he was a kid. He meets like a caveman at the end of the story who's a kid. And they say he's the same age as that kid. So,
No, they say he's the same height, and so
oh,
maybe he thinks you're the same age as him. That's the joke at the end.
oh, because he's a dwarf. Okay.
Hmm.
yeah, I think like you remember what is that French magazine with the barbarian guy? It was really loosely drawn and all that. It has like it
Asterix?
from book 1 going into book 2. Gruel, I think it was. Grew. Yeah, Grew. That's what it
Oh,
was.
yeah. Right.
But it has like so like if a kid was reading this, he would be interested from when they teleport or whatever it is to the jungles. It would be a good like I there's really no complaints other than like I always want narrative bubbles in comic books, and there was none of that.
Yeah.
I will say sometimes there's like a time pass, and you have to like read the page for a few panels. Like, oh, there was a time pass. It's not always apparent when there's a time pass. I think only once there's a little narrative bubble that says later.
Well, I would also like less dialogue and maybe add in the whole narrative. But I always felt like maybe this story felt like it should have had that. I guess is what my subconscious is saying.
Yeah, like it's a little bit like they're taking the storyboard approach where the only thing happening in the story is visually and what you get in dialogue.
Yeah,
But you're not going to do the comic specific stuff of the square text and all that. Yeah. Square
I mean,
box text.
that would suit the intention of
Go
having
back
an
to
all
the
ages
top
book.
of this page.
would you say well read? I didn't hear you.
Wouldn't that suit the intention of having it be all ages? Maybe you wouldn't want a lot of narrative. Maybe you just would want
I don't know.
everything to
I
be
feel
very
like all
immediate.
ages should have the narrative boxes, like the Never-Ending Story and shit like that. You had, and then the one where the Princess Bride, where he's falling, like that. I feel like that should be that type of storytelling, personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a Once Upon a Time opener or something.
So why are we looking at this first panel?
So
Pepsi Shine.
if the prior page is the small guy, Israel, going out in space, and now he's out in space. But if you read the dialogue and look at the clothes of the other two characters, you realize there was a large time skip, and he's been out here trying to collect it for a while. But it's not readily apparent that there was a time skip at this juncture until you piece together all the information it's showing you. So that happens occasionally
What's the
throughout
matter
this
with
book.
his fingers?
Yeah, that was weird too. It looks like a deflated balloon. I guess maybe it's supposed to show that he's in a low pressure environment and the gloves are a little bit too big for his hands.
I didn't notice that.
Okay. Piper in the chat says he's 40 years old, but his body is 13 years old. So that probably explains some things. Maybe he can't even fit the gloves fully, because he's got a boy body.
Story never tells us anything about that. I will say that.
Yeah.
It doesn't explain that at all.
Yeah, I thought he was just a smart kid.
I thought he was just a midget.
Yeah.
I think it's the inverse for J Dollar. He's 13 on the inside and 40 on the
I
outside.
will say, since this story is trying to be a bit sci-fi, that this goo, if you scroll down a little more, do we get more goo? Or maybe you need to be on the next
Yeah,
page.
what do you think of the goo? Like that's a pretty big part. I remember they were Luke and Piper were selling the goo.
The problem is, I mean, I'm fine with the concept of the goo. It's like matter, energy transforming, and like half the book is them trying to figure out what it is. But the trick here is he can't collect it because he stopped it from moving, and then when he stops from moving, all of a sudden it turns into energy. But the problem is this goo doesn't really look like it's moving that much whenever he's interacting with it. So I don't know if this is the art problem or if this was a concept problem, but the goo doesn't ever really look like it's moving. There's got to be something to say, oh, look, it's in motion. He's stopping it from moving. So that's why they need to figure something out to keep it in motion so they can examine it.
That's a good point. Because they get cool. There's a cool action scene that they get out from this, but the concept sounds great on paper when you're writing a script, but even the concept has to be visual, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to, like that has to be immediately clear that can be conveyed visually for it to be like a really stellar comic book idea. But they do figure out how to put together an action sequence for how to make it move so that it stays in a particular state.
Yeah, I'm fine with the logic about how to keep it in motion and stuff like that. But like even like on this thing, it's moving a little bit, but then it's kind of just dripping off it and barely moving. I was like, well, how is that any different if he put it in a jar? It seems like the same thing, yet somehow he can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a bit. I remember there was a panel where he's trying to like pinch the goo and get it in the jar, and it's turning to like a, it turns from like a goo to a fart, like it looks like a gas.
Yeah,
and I think that was like it's like phase changing in a way, you know. But
yeah, I think that needs to be stressed a little more visually.
Yeah, it's pretty high concept for a kid's story, I guess, in a way. But
yeah,
it's,
I mean,
it's
I'm
delivered
fine with the
well.
concept. Yeah, the concept's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say his solution about bringing it into the suit doesn't quite make sense because somehow it's being sucked into the suit. But now I know this isn't actually outer space. It's like a timeline connection. But I was like, well, how is the suit sucking it in? Shouldn't it be blowing out? I mean, if you're going to do
because he's
sci-fi,
decompressing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, well, how is it going in if the suit's blowing out air? But it's kind of a minor quibble.
Darko had pointed out that the characters look like they keep changing visually. I kind of agree with that. Like one thing I noticed a couple artists do is they start at certain points of the story. They don't start from page 1 and go to the end, because if you do that, by the time you go to the end, like your art will stop being as good as it was on the first page. So I did kind of notice, like, towards the end of the book. So I did notice that, Darko. But I don't know. I know she says because it's not a kid's story, guy. But like, this totally feels like a kid's book, you know, or like a teenage book. You know what I'm saying? Like a Ghostbusters, things like that.
I guess, Matt C., could I direct this question to you? Can you talk a little bit about some of this panel staging? What do you think about some of the choices here, how to represent the progression of the storyline?
Yeah, no, I dig it. Like, it reminds me a bit more of what Euro comics do, where they don't break panels. Like America's known, well, and manga, like the panel is just a suggestion, usually in American comics, and in Japanese comics, and people spend a lot of time breaking those panels, and you don't just kind of block them out this way. Like, I'm coming from a perspective where, like, you know, Kyrie, I don't break out too much, and I like Euro comics, so I'm okay with them doing this. But yeah, like, sometimes it gets a little storyboardish, and folks that kind of want comics to do the comics thing and not just be influenced too much from storyboards, it can feel a little restrictive, I think. So that's fair. You know, it's more of a taste thing, I think, but I get it. You know, everyone kind of gets blocked in like this, like talking heads.
What do you think, Jay Dollar? Did it give you a dynamic impression?
For like to reference what I was saying earlier, about like my daughter will read the whole thing and I'll look at the pictures and move on when I was younger. You can be on both sides of those spectrums. So like someone who likes,
The
I don't get
autism spectrum.
yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yep.
But so this is where I feel like a narrative perspective would have helped, and then you could have done more with the story panels. So I do, because Matt's mentioned story panels twice now, which is cool, or which makes sense, and it's cool, but there could have been more fulfilling panels. I get what Matt is saying.
Stop show that panel. Now go back to like 19.
19.
Okay, so go to the bottom panel.
Page 20.
So here, the motion is showed by the noise, but if you go to the next page, then they kind of make it blurry and put the lines, and it's like, oh yeah, you can see it spinning around. So I think that was like
That's a good point.
the best time motion was shown. And I can understand the prior panel. You just want it actually in focus so people can see what it is, and then you can make, oh, see, it's moving, sort of thing. But that I think is the best illustration of them showing motion.
But then that goes back to what Matt was just saying. Like those are 3 panels of essentially the same thing, like storyboard styling, where there, like 2 more panels could have been used for maybe a different angle or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
It's kind of a recent phenomenon in American comics, I think, to even see this sort of thing, and it's doing it. It's performing, it's doing a certain task. Like it's showing you, okay, this stuff doesn't move and this stuff does, but it's doing it in the way storyboards do it, not the way comics historically do it. So it's, yeah.
Well, I didn't notice it until Matt said it, so I blame Matt.
It's almost like Matt is an artist.
Well, this may be falling back on like what I was saying about Dillard. Like, were these pages done in unison, 1920, or because like 19 has 4 different panels and 20 has those 3 panels, but they're essentially all the same. So did like he used one? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's an interesting critique, and it does make sense. And that reminds me of like the Spider-Man thing now.
If you go to the next panel, I will say the inconsistency, I think, mostly affects Rivia, I believe her name is. Like her head size constantly changes. That's what I've noticed the most. If you like scroll down these panels. Like sometimes it's very elongated, sometimes it gets really round, sometimes it's like almost like 30 or 40% of her body size. Everyone else's head seems
It also makes me wonder, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just had a thought that's important. I noticed Dillard draws differently when he's talking to people, and then the art he does when he's not talking to people, and he's just smoking cigarettes and drinking Pepsi. So that could
Pepsi.
That could play in a factor to some of these pages. Like, was he back rooming with like Piper and Luke and all that, and he's just shooting shit, talking with him, smoking cigarettes, and then drawing that style, you can totally tell a difference in Dillard's drawing demeanor, style, whatever. So.
Well, yeah. So contrast a little bit his, like, for example, his splash pages here with his sequential storytelling. Do you see a strong shift there between the approach for both? Is there one that's a strength or one that?
Well, I mean, there's definitely more detail, which I'm fine with, like lighting up on detail when you're like trying to tell a story versus a splash page. But I mean, maybe Matt C has an opinion on this. I mean, this is very common in like manga. Like they do the regular drawing, and then all of a sudden your character becomes chibi, and his face is like 3 lines. So I mean, it's not like this is unheard of.
But I mean, I just thought I mean, Dillard. This is kind of a question in the back of my mind
Go to 17.
the whole time. Like, so you bring on Dillard. He's kind of known in these circles for detail and realism, and you ask Dillard to draw, an all ages comic with more of a cartoony style with bigger eyes, and that's fine. But that's asking him to reach outside of his wheelhouse. Again, that's fine, but he might struggle with that a bit. And, and if you ask him to draw a giant bug monster, that might be more in his comfort zone. So he's going to be able to pull that out faster with, even with the detail and make it cool and stuff.
If you go to
But the purple
bottom
girl,
panel,
maybe not so much.
yeah,
I
go
don't
to
know.
the bottom panel, and I think, yeah, like look at her head shape just completely changes. It's almost like a Area 51 alien now in that right panel, and then it's nice, kind of more human proportion in the left.
So Piper's typing in the chat. So she doesn't have to type this. There's a perspective change, I think, is what's going on. And they're looking down at her. But yeah, I mean, if that's not immediately clear, then that's not a fault of the reader. The artist needs to make that clear. So there's no question of what's if there's a perspective change or not.
If you say so.
No, I'm saying it's not your fault for feeling.
No, it's just visually how a person reacts is what Matt was saying. So, but it totally is a different. Like her head has changed, yes, in many panels from the different angles.
All right, so I guess we went over a lot of the artistic approach with a fine-tooth comb. Let's talk about pacing of the story. Since it is an all ages story, are you expecting something very intense, a little bit milder, something a little bit chibi, maybe appealing to the children's audience? What exactly did you get here in terms of tone and tenor for the book?
It's pretty fast paced because I think by the second panel they encounter the goo, or maybe the third, not panel, page. So I mean, I'd say 70% of the story is interacting with the goo immediately, and then they figure out sort of what it is, and then they go to a certain timeline where they think it originated, and then you kind of get an introduction. Yeah, so this is where this is another timeline. It's an Earth, so I assume it's like an alternate timeline of us, presumably, but in the future. And everyone's like cavemen, and then the story ends. It kind of as a cliffhanger because you're 32 pages. But so it always has something happening, so that way the pacing's nice, so you don't feel bogged down. Although there is some respite points, like a page or two, but otherwise it's always moving.
What did you guys think? Autism and Matsy.
Well, I had mentioned early on, the examples of how it like reminds you of other stories. So I still kind of feel like there's like that hint of common storytelling themes that, what is it like make you reminiscent almost. Like, so when certain parts of the book made me think about other movies. So
Yeah, like Lost in Space or something.
yeah, I felt that Lost in Space feeling too. The recent movies, like I had that feeling from the recent movies almost. That's a good point. Not the old one, but the newer one.
Did you feel like it relied on certain tropes in a lot of the storytelling?
I don't know. I didn't feel tropey. Maybe
not. The only trope, I don't know if I even call it a trope, it's more of a genre, is it, I mean, it's simplistic in a sense, but it is kind of following the standard sci-fi short storytelling. You encounter a problem and your attempts to solve it. The story is about the science, in this case, the goo. What is this goo? What is it doing? How do we solve it? Sort of thing.
Yeah, see on this last panel versus the ones where we're just talking about her head shape. Like this one actually kind of makes me feel of like Dragon Ball Z. Like I get that feeling when I
Yeah.
look at the picture. Um, and
It's
like
the most like realistic proportions, right, of
if
these
the whole
guys,
book,
and it's
yeah, if
one
the
of
whole
Yeti's
book was
best.
like
Yeah.
this, if the whole book like had this type of it's really detailed plants in the ship. You know, definitely missing perspective lines in certain points. I'm not a comic book creator, so who am I to?
But you are an artist, J Dollar. So.
And you are autistic, so you should have superpowers.
Yes, that's probably.
Matsy, you mentioned that the paneling was reminiscent of a European approach to storytelling, to comic layout. I mean, did you also see that reflected at all in the storytelling?
Well, I think the story, frankly, I think the story was the best part. And I think the story, for being an adventure story, reminds me of Euro comics because that's what their bread and butter is. You know, like exploration, kind of solving some sort of crisis that
Like
impacts
Rin
different
10.
cultures. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like Rin 10 Canine Cop. Yep. And yeah, and
Yeah,
that's what they did. So.
I didn't get. You keep saying European, and you just said Rin 10. I didn't.
You didn't get Canine Cop vibes from this?
No. The scene actually kind of makes me think of Metal Gear Solid 4, like when the girl is trying to learn how to cook the eggs through the chapter. I don't know. I just thought of that. The kitchen. But again, like the perspectives on the table and everything, they're, you know, I'm sure Dillard will get far better with these type of story panelings the more he does. Because I've never seen him, like Matt was saying earlier, I've never seen him do this type of art style before, because he always does these like the Max or Jay Lee style books, like when they took over Prophet and all that. Like he has more of that type of drawing style than what he does in this.
Yeah, even though it's interesting, Piper. I'm trying not to. She's giving us good information. Normally, like I hate to like have the you know to be interacting with the commentary before they're even on, but it's really good. I know. Remember when Mandy? Remember when Mandy when we did her gnome book?
Wizard book, right?
Yeah, the wizard book. Mandy only said like one thing the whole time in the chat.
Well,
we were much more critical.
I feel like it's almost like a Deadpool review. Like you're breaking the fourth wall of reviews, where like the creator is there, part of the review. So it's interesting.
Yeah, but I think we all like this a lot more than the wizard book, and but even if he brought out this style and he voluntarily said, I want to try something different, and this is what I want to run with, I mean, that's a risk. Even if your artist says, hey, you don't know me for this, but I want to show up and do this, it's not wrong or right to go with that, but that's a risk, and that's going to have some challenges as you produce 32 pages.
What about characterization? Do you feel like they hit their target audience?
How do those two components of that question relate? Do you want to know about characterization or hitting the target audience?
Exactly. I mean, you could talk about characterization, I guess, outside of the genre that this book is trying to market to. But I'm curious.
Jay Dollar needs to answer this question. I can't figure it out.
Isn't it a broad question? Ask it again.
The characters, do you think they would appeal to an all ages readership?
See, that's
if you made, like I said, I had mentioned that earlier. This is like a PG-13 feeling. Definitely more on the PG age. What is that one movie where the motherfucker was under the bed and they went like under the city and he was a troll, the comedian guy and the boy? You know what I'm
Was it
talking
like comic or?
No, it was a movie. I think Tom Hanks was the troll. Maybe not Tom Hanks. I don't know. Not Tom Hanks. The guy who's bald now and he's weird, doesn't want to touch people. But it
Cecil.
also had that fucking vibe as well. I just thought about that. Anyway.
That whole description that got more interesting with every edition.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like
fascinating.
your TISM superpower is derailing streams.
Well, I think that was
yeah.
the perfect
That
answer
little
to
monster,
your
you know,
question.
someone knew what I was fucking talking about. Y'all are just retarded and you didn't know the movie.
Piper
yeah,
knew what it was.
Yeah, it had like it had these. You can tell Piper had watched all the movies. Howie Mandel had watched all the movies we watched, and she put it into this book because she wrote this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can tell that exists. I don't know who helped edit it or whatever.
Luke's done.
So, yeah, that's a dumb. Ask a different question.
Wait.
Would
Can we just be clear for a second? Did Piper write this, or was she editing and
She wrote
kind of marketing? Okay. Well, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Unless
So-
the title
Kudos to
page
Piper.
is wrong, Piper wrote this.
I want to know, J Dollar, would your daughter like these characters? Your younger daughter?
She is into she likes horror films, which is weird. Like she wants to watch Jason and all that. I'm like, you gotta wait a little bit, you know. She likes like Gen 13 and Phoenix and comic books like that. With like, I try to buy her books with like female main characters and shit.
This is the 18-year-old.
Huh?
I doubt
she-
he means your younger
No, she's
daughter,
8.
right? Yeah.
She's 8. I have an 8
Okay.
and 18-year-old. Yeah. Well, they're about to be
Gotcha.
9 and 19.
19. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
You're an old man.
So it definitely has that feeling. Like I've mentioned a couple times now on the stream, like it has reminiscent feelings of older films, and that was clearly put in here in some fashion or another. Dillard was able to portray those scenes, which is good. You can just kind of tell in some of the pages, they could have been done better. So it builds. So a boy can read this and he would like it because it has 2 strong male characters, and a girl can read this and she would read it because the female character is strong as well. So
And has good ideas sometimes.
And like, what was it? And the Never-Ending Story had that fucking girl, even though she was a princess, but she was a pretty character who was strong against the enemy when she was taken. So, it has that, even though no one was taken, but you get what I mean? Like, it had strong characters, building characters, or building, what is it? Because isn't the little midget kid, the boy who's 40 years old? Like there's you have to get stronger story plot. What is that called? I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Pacing.
Pacing.
Are we still talking about the gray interiors of the
No, I
ship?
think he's talking. Oh, don't go back.
Well,
to
there was
that.
a lot of similarities in the background that was very distracting in the color palettes throughout the book. So that is definitely something that
Is
bothers me.
this the gray you were talking about that Well Read is showing now?
Sure.
So
Pepsi
no.
Shine, you said there were interesting ideas. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
I mean, the whole concept of the goo is interesting enough. So, I mean, it's a little fantastical. So eventually you find out it's not just converting between matter and energy like light or something like that. It's converting between like a goo and memories or thoughts or something like that. So clearly we haven't quite figured out everything about this yet because we go to a planet and everyone's cavemen, but it seems like it's more of something that interacts with like living creatures and stealing maybe their thoughts or memories or even maybe their past or something. So we're not quite certain yet, but I mean, it's an interesting concept in that way. I can't really compare it to something else, or at least it seems to be a unique idea to me.
Is that what was going on with the ones and zeros? There was like a Matrix scene. Do you remember that?
I thought that was just symbols to make it look like the computer was doing something. I don't know if maybe that actually is something.
Oh yeah, either it was like the reflection of the screen, or I was a little and that might not be in the script. That might be a Dillard thing. I'm not sure.
I mean, there
Or
was
maybe
the
it's the gray
timeline
tones of the
thing
coloring,
where,
but-
like, you see the timeline splitting off on the screen and things like that. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was something going on there. You're right. There was some allusion to.
that was actually a good setup, though, because you're watching the screen and all of a sudden you see the giant insect creep up onto it, and then when it's fully there, there's like warning alarms going off. So it's like they're so concentrated on this goo that they don't see the insect crawling on their ship. That was clever.
Yeah, that's kind of it's funny you bring that up because that's like a storyboard setup, right? But where it's like it's the same perspective like 3 times, but that's kind of a strength, where you can show, okay, like I'm thinking of this as a static scene, but there's something different happening. What are these things don't belong, and it kind of emphasizes the creep up, the creepy bug monster when you do it that way. Sometimes it's hard to tell when every single panel is dramatically different from the other.
I mean, I guess it's sort of like pacing as you would do in a movie, because in a movie maybe you have like a shadow creeping across the screen.
Well, that falls back to what Matt was saying. It felt like storyboard panel-y, like, so not enough bisexual lighting.
Since we're being pedantic, did you want to talk about the characterization separate? Not you, autism.
Well, if you meant characters, you should have said characters and not characterization.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the characterization?
No, not really. No.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the characters?
No.
Okay. Do we want to give final thoughts?
Yes.
All right. Why don't you go ahead, Pepsi Shine? Give us your final thoughts.
It's okay.
The enthusiasm for this review is just
You never had enthusiasm.
So much to work with here. Tism, you go ahead.
I thought it was fine. There's a couple things that I felt with like how the story was. It should have had narrativistic bubbles in the whole book. It would have totally changed the feel. And I mean, it was fine with me. Totally felt like a kid's book. Sorry, I have no complaints. It's
all ages TM.
Yeah,
all ages gray comic book.
Yeah, well, there was we didn't really talk about from our perspective. I felt Dillard kind of fucking sucked, and he could have done better in certain panels.
Where was this J Dollar throughout the rest of the review?
I know, 55 minutes in.
Summary, so I'm giving you a summary, and then there was a lot of. So, like, I know Photoshop and all that, and I know how to draw decently. I don't know how to do panels, so whatever. But there was a lot of, like, the backgrounds should have been, there should have been more time put into the background coloring and all that jazz to make it feel, like the panel at the end when they're in the forest.
Do you agree with the sentiment, J Dollar?
What?
Darko.
On the screen.
He says Dillard phoned it in.
On here. The other day he said he's never wrong, so I thought that was funny.
All right. Well, it's coming from somebody who is never wrong. That's a strong statement.
Wrong before.
Matsy, would you like to give your final take, and then we'll have Piper come on and blast J Dollar.
Well, yeah.
Nice.
On the visual side, yeah. I mean, just thinking about what we know of what Dillard's portfolio is, just judging Dillard by Dillard. I don't know if he phoned it in, but I think he's at least he was taking risks, and he probably should have. I don't know. He could have polished them more. Like, it's just not his strength, so he's trying something that isn't his strength. And what do you do when you get that? You know, oftentimes it's gonna be a little more haphazard than what your go-to visual tool set is. But the story was the best part. It got a little too excited, I think, about the pseudo physics that they were playing with, but I feel like it was delivered in an interesting way. I thought the dialogue was great, and the action scenes were figured out. Like a good comic like this, like if I don't understand what the timey-wimey sciencey stuff you're throwing at me is, but I just want to get to the next action scene, and you give me a good action scene, then I'm happy. And this comic did that like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, it's good, but yeah, I think Dillard needs to figure out whether or not he wants to draw women from 3/4 perspective or not, you know, with a cartoony style. He's gonna have to just probably pick a lane or practice more. I think that's the most critical I'll say, and that's saying a lot because JDL and I really like Dillard's art, and we've been looking at it for years at this point. So that's all that's meant to say. But that's my review.
You stalkers. All right, let's bring on some truth and justice. Please welcome everybody. Here's Piper.
Share my screen real
Just
quick.
kidding.
Oh man,
You're
come
exactly
on,
right.
come on. We're just
No.
trying to.
What are you?
Oh.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, on a lot of the art commentary, I agree. I think what he said he was doing was he was putting a lot of detail into really important scenes and then simplifying all the drawings on kind of the in-between scenes. The paneling was my choice because I was thinking of this as in my head, an introductory comic. So I wanted it to be very clear, easy to follow for somebody that maybe hasn't read a comic book. However, story-wise, it's not supposed to hold your hand, which is why there's not very many blocks of "Meanwhile at the Batcave" and crap, because I didn't want it to read like it was holding the reader's hands. The reader needs to, visually go, okay. The reason it gets all excited about the sciencey part is because that's that guy's character. The one that's
Actually, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Actually, let's start there. So I'd like to hear first your the whole genesis of the idea and what you guys were, what story you were hoping to tell, where the idea spawned from. Can you give us a little bit of context and background for how you came up with the ideas for Rift Riders?
Yeah, the backstory is I was originally with a different group starting to work on less sci-fi, more fantasy, but it had a lot of it was going to have time or dimension travel kind of shit going on. So a little
Is
bit
that something
sci-fi.
that super interests you, that kind of sci-fi type of material?
I hate it. No, I love Doctor Who, but I actually never thought that I would be trying to write a time travel necessarily, or at least not to this extent. But this gives such a huge playground for stories.
Right. Tons of ideas to mine there.
Yeah.
Would you want to be doing more of a Peregrine type world, more superhero, or?
My problem there is it's pretty hard in the superhero sphere, I guess, to come up with a story that somebody doesn't go, oh yeah, that's so and so, this superhero, that's their backstory and crap like that. So that one has its own difficulties. At least in sci-fi, it's just make up science sounding shit and you're good to go. It's a comic book.
Yeah, the only people that will know it are people that are reading analog, and that's 5 people. So almost no one will say it's like this story. So was this science thing Luke Stone's idea, or was this your idea then?
it was still a bit of both. Luke came to me and said, "Hey, I've got the start of an idea for time or dimension traveling people, because technically he can link it to his hybrids world, which makes it slightly less sci-fi and more like powers, but well, a little bit of sci-fi is in there too, but and I said, he gave it to me to look at, and I was like, holy crap, this has what you're wanting to do has a lot of the elements of this other book that I was hoping to work on, and it didn't, everybody kind of just wandered off to different projects. Like they were kind of looking at it as we BS some stuff, and I was like, so my part, I'm like, I technically have created characters that I don't have anything to do with, and part of a plot I would love to use somewhere that I don't know where to use. If we combine these two things, we've got a solid like sci-fi adventure thing going on.
What components were from your fantasy story? If we like, is it like the team itself, or?
So far these characters are Luke's, but I gave them aside from Israel already had a backstory. I gave the other two backstories that you don't see yet. So you're going to learn about all of them as you go. You're going to learn kind of from their conversations with each other. You're going to get the feel of their personality. But as the series goes, their backstories will actually come into play, and development, you'll see how far they've come already and how they got to change and stuff. But those were Luke's, like I said, Rivia and Lunos, I gave them their personalities and their backstories. Israel was pretty well-rounded already when I came in. The characters that I've made that I'm actually going to bring with me aren't in this one. One of them is in the next one. One of them kind of comes along in the next one. And it was a character that I had already had a lot of information for and then didn't know where to use it. I changed just a few things about this character to make it less fantasy and more a science-ish explanation for, to put it in. And it's going to actually, this one character will sort of help explain the goo a little more.
So the goo was the nemesis that you're trying to like set up in this whole story. It was that your idea of having that be the big reveal, the big mystery that's underlying everything?
The goo itself is not. The cause of the goo is. Yes, the goo is the bad thing that they need to figure out how to make stop happening. But it's what's causing it to happen in the first place is the real what and who. I'll give you a little bit of a who and what is causing it.
Jaydala has goo caused when he sleeps at night.
Before we move on, there's something important news. Well read.
Well read. Congrats. Oil went up $3 now. It is.
Pay for my hotel room when you come to Florida.
Yeah, Jaydala is trying to mooch, some accommodations for Tampa. So if anyone wants to
pay for my fucking room.
Is somebody wants still around? Because you could have sent him the link, but
I did send him the link.
Okay.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I'm on top of things. No worries there.
We just had to spend for a water heater. The water heater was $600 and something, and to replace it was over $1,000. So
wait a minute, is this true? Well read.
Oh no.
Elseed kisses Well Red's anus. It is very true. Yes.
Oh wow.
He drives to my house, makes special trips. So I kept trying to get to the characters because they're all pretty unique, I think, in the story. They all have distinct looks. And how important did you feel like that was for telling a sci-fi story? Did you feel like characterization is a key thing?
Well, one thing we were talking about was if they're from different planets or different dimensions, etc., we wanted to really show that they were like from 3 very different worlds, but still have them humanoid enough to, put in the suits basically, but to work well together. So, Luke had already still pretty much come up with the visual designs, but we were talking on the same thing of, we wanted obvious Israel as a human. You'll find out why he's an old dude stuck in a 13-year-old dude's body as the story goes. Just like you'll find out things about all of them. Wait, I was going to say art-wise, I think, I'm not 100% sure if we're still doing it, but I'm pretty sure we're going with a different colorist going forward, actually.
So
Well, the grays
Dillard
will be
didn't
gone
color
then.
this.
Dillard
Okay.
did not do the colors, and we had some problems.
You have some issues with the colors. Is that what I'm hearing?
Some
Yeah.
bitch ass.
Maybe Jay Dollar could color it for you.
Throw him under
Why
the
not?
bus, Piper. That's what the chat wants.
No,
I could probably color all that, but I don't know how.
How do you feel
He-
about crayon?
you could just make a. You know what? We should make the other ones just line art and say that the people can color in their own comic books.
Mm. Very participatory.
Ahmed is
Yeah.
open to sharing a bit
problem
with
with me
you.
trying to color it is getting the same. I mean, I know you build a palette for the scenes and everything, but I've never done anything like that. And I don't want to start just yet.
Can I say one of the things I like about Piper is that when she shows up on a project, she's really into world building, and you
Yeah.
can tell that's a passion of hers. And when she gets up on a stream, she goes off into that world, and I think that's a really fascinating aspect. And I knew that about her from her streams over the years, but and I read Peregrine, but I didn't think of that as, but it's neat to read something she's actually authored, and I didn't know if it would just be a world building story, and it wasn't. It was very narrative, character driven, so it was kind of cool. And you didn't even do the box text things, you just did dialogue, and you were able to carry everything pretty well. So kudos to you for doing that. Even though you had all this stuff in the background, you didn't try and cram it in.
Yeah, and I figured there's going to be other issues, and there's going to be arcs, as long as I can make the issue itself pretty entertaining. I just, for different books, feel different ways. I can't get into detail about the other books I'm writing, but they all are going to end up feeling like a different style, not just the art, but the storytelling style. Because I just kind of go with, I feel like this is how this should be told. So for Rift Riders, I was like, I just want people to get shoved right into the adventure and go on an adventure and discover stuff at the exact same time as the characters do. So you're not going to get any information that the characters don't get. You're going to get it at the same time instead of and also I'm trying to be with the time changes. I think, there was one time I was like, we're just going to have to say later. But yeah, the costume change is supposed to imply, okay, you're in different clothes.
Ahmed.
Some time passed. Oh,
Well read.
Goo is a thing
What?
that Ahmed is very enthusiastic about. He says, so this Goo storyline is like the proto-molecule in the Expanse, in which the real... I said Expanse.
No, you got to say it twice. It's important.
Expanse. In which the real big bad is the civilization that create the proto-molecule.
yeah.
You don't have to answer that.
That's not exactly, but that's kind of close.
These are all euphemisms for the male scrotum. So.
Oh, cruel.
Oh my goodness.
God
I
damn
thought it was like a never-ending story type thing, where it's like the nothing is coming in and taking out all these multiverses. But
I love the Goo in Ghostbusters too, personally.
It is kind of turning the multiverses into nothing. And the more they learn, the more that they'll figure out how it's doing that and how it works. So why you have the one character that's like super hyped about the science behind it.
So you can explain the science.
Yeah,
As it
so he can
happens.
explain the science. And if the reader's not interested, that's fine. They just know, okay, this kid's a fucking nerd. Like, because he's telling it to the other characters, and even the other characters like, they grab some of it or they get all of it or not. But that's just what excites him specifically about the entire traveling in the first place. Is my microphone loud?
No,
No.
it's LC being LC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't
Okay.
ever pay attention to LC.
Okay.
You always loud, woman.
God damn it.
Yeah, you're around friends, Piper. I promise. Like you did call us fuckers at the beginning, but hopefully,
Listen,
Yeah, but at least I
if
said,
we're
hey,
not
fuckers.
honest, we don't have a show.
That's
So.
the correct response
exactly.
when coming on for an interview. You're supposed to start
No,
off
exactly.
calling
I don't want like I understood why you were like, well, we didn't put Anthony on here because y'all are like good friends. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get it.
No,
I'm gonna want people to go, no, I read this and I don't fucking know what the fuck's
Well
going on.
Red and Pepsi, they like to run their show with only a certain amount of guests.
That
Well, I mean, there's
also
that too.
helps. But
and we really
But-
wanted J Dollar because he's so beautiful.
Yeah, we needed some eye candy. We weren't. Yeah, so
We love his
we
tism.
knew you wouldn't cam up, so we thought Mr. Tism could handle that for the. There we go.
There's your nip
Yeah.
slip, LC.
I gotta fix my face, just the entire face, and then I'll cam up more often again. No, I my only problem is I did not understand any of his critique, but I understood everybody
No one
else.
ever does.
It's like the sciencey guy, in the story. It's like you don't have to really get it. You just have
Yeah.
to know that
Yeah.
everyone's, gonna have a good time around
Yeah.
that. So.
Something has been explained. One thing it was really fun because I started making up sciencey shit around the goo. And then I started going, well, let me look it up and see if that even sounds plausible. And I was looking stuff up and I was like, holy shit, I made up stuff that technically is legit in theory.
Yeah, I have to say your sciencey explanations, I guess in a layman's term, that's
Yeah.
reasonable the way
That's
you're
what he's
explaining
putting
things.
it in. But that's what he's putting it in for them. You'll get more because the whole group is smart. But you'll notice where they're smart at, where their strengths are.
I will have to
as
say,
they
though,
start.
one time when Israel was trying to tell what's her name, Rivia, that she was smart, I thought he was being
Pepsi, why can't you just say it? It's Israel. Why can't, are you trying to avoid is the algorithm listening to us? You
Well,
don't
I
want to
mean-
say it?
He doesn't want to speak Jew, so
He's
no,
already on a
because
Mossad watch list.
technically, if it's to be like the name, it should be the more actual pronunciation, I'd assume, but who knows?
Israel, yeah.
Yeah, can we
Yeah.
get Mike S. Miller to pronounce it for us? That'll settle it.
So does he actually think she's smart, or was he being patronizing to her? I couldn't quite tell.
Why is
No.
he named Israel? What's up with that? It's you couldn't
would
give
need
us
Luke. You would need Luke. Luke named the characters so far.
oh, that's right. It's
These
his
three,
character.
he's
Yeah.
named them. Yeah. He named them, and like I said, he already had pretty much a personality for him. So what that is a little bit of showing that he is actually in his 40s. He considers these two, even though they're young adults, he considers them the kids.
So
In
it's
his
kind
head-
of like an instructor saying, "Oh, that was a good
Yeah.
idea."
Yeah. In his head, they are the kids. And in their heads, they know he's not actually 13. They're gonna dunk on him forever. So it's gonna play out here and there, old crotchety, a little bit of old crotchety manness, but he is a dude that's he never got the sore old body, so he's still in the I think I'm invincible mindset. But he's also, matured, so he's still in his head. He's older than them. and their kids, even though they're not.
Okay. I think that makes sense. I think also you had it where he compliments her, and just after he like tells her not to do something, so it's like, here's a nice thing before I tell you what you did wrong, or sort of thing going on.
Yeah, he said it was a good idea, but that she shouldn't have just acted on it. She should have brought it up first.
Yeah, because she could have like blown up or something.
Yeah, because you don't know what's really gonna happen. You'll also see as it goes that she's playing off, especially in this one. She's kind of a little sneaky. She's playing off that she's not as smart as she actually is.
So you happy? Well read characterization. There you go.
Thank you. Feel so much better now.
Oh, but I did want to say the overall feel and look and storytelling is based on like old school sci-fi.
What do you
Yeah,
mean when
you
say
were.
that?
We were picking up that vibe.
What kind
A
of
little bit of like add a little bit of Johnny Quest,
Bro, I had steak tonight. I had ribeye with bone.
but in
Fucking
space.
delicious.
or
Johnny
in the
Quest in
Rift.
space? Yeah, that's
Johnny
cool.
Quest in the Rift. I got to remember that. That's why I keep telling them not to put stars and stuff when they're in the Rift, because they're not technically in space. They are in a rift between dimensions. It's just supposed to be nothingness.
Jack Stafford, is that a double entendre? Just let us know in the chat. Thanks.
Aw, bruh.
Read it. Well read.
Does everything have to be backhanded?
You can always tell Piper has put a lot of effort into creating backstories.
Y'all
I
wrong
mean-
for that.
Jack's a little too smart, so I figured I wanted to reward that joke. So
I will have to say, besides the like 13-year-old boy, there's not much ass in this book. So
Yeah, that's not going to be like little kitty stuff. Nothing super important has happened yet. But it's not going to be little kitty stuff, but it's definitely not going to be AR-13L. Like,
speaking of that, you're writing that as well, right?
yeah, I'm having a lot of fun writing that, because writing Rift Riders, like Rift Riders 2 has been written. Technically, it was supposed to have launched and done its thing by now, but Fund My Comic, Luke's started Fund My Comic, and it's taking up a lot of his time right now. So some stuff is a little paused and slower than it would be, but it's really fun to also go off and write Merkmaid, because it is so different. and the way it's drawn, the way it's told, it is so different. And it's, so it's kind of like, it's my way of going, look, I don't only write family. I can write you anything you need. I want to do a horror book soon too.
You should do like a sex book like Manny did.
What, Work the Wizard?
A sex book.
The dinosaur and the
The dinosaur. At the same time that she was working on that, because that came from a game that we played. At the same time that she was writing that, I was writing a gay one called Backhold.
Gamer?
Yeah, Backhold by the Backhoe. It was we were looking up absurd porn books, porn novels, and
Didn't that get Vicky all upset or something?
Yep.
Like that?
yeah, so she went for dinosaur, even though those existed. I said I was going to write one that didn't exist yet, so I looked up a bunch of bizarre shit and it was on Amazon, and finally I was like, I can't find any porn about construction equipment, construction vehicles and equipment. And I was like, there we go. I'm going to be the first one to write a porn about construction equipment. And there's like a chapter or two done sitting somewhere if I didn't delete it. However, I got really busy with the comics stuff, so I was too busy to write just the porn book, the porn novel.
You're ruining Mr. Autism's sex life. He's waiting on those books.
What?
He's not going to be able to produce any new goo.
I was kind of like, well, you know, if I'm going to be writing this other stuff, I don't know if I want Backhold by the Backhoe to also be under my name, especially now that my family is Googling me to find my books.
You can always use a pen name for that.
That's true. I would just need to do a better pen. That's what I should do. Maybe one day. I actually have another.
I suggest well-read comics as your pen name. No,
Yeah.
You should save it for the sequel, Backhold by the Black Hoe.
By the Black Hoe.
Another one
By
that's
well-read
number
anus.
2.
That's
By
right.
well-read anus.
There's no A.
That's my pen name.
red. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Everybody should write porn under my alias. Perfect.
Can we just appreciate? So Piper, like, she's streamed with Anna. She's streamed with a lot of, like, there's not a lot of ladies in this corner, right, of the internet. But you're the only one that can, like, hang. Or I don't know what it is about you, Piper. Some have said that you're not as Machiavellian as other ladies. Or something. I don't know. But somehow, but
I'm
I
sitting here
prefer
like,
you the
shit,
way
I'm a
you
writer
are.
and I'm about to have to Google this fucking word.
That's me. Well, either you're not smart enough to, like, stab the slums in the back, or you actually are just a real one and you'd rather. Well, okay, let's say you're middle class now, but you're willing to actually hang out with us, and, and we do appreciate that.
Piper is the only lady that has actually been on streams with Testify, and you can't really get more Testify than Testify.
That's true.
I'm still kicking. Oh,
Well, I mean,
God.
Stu's been on stream with Testify, so.
Who? Oh, you're making fun of Stu.
Yeah, no.
It's had more than one lady.
I'm guessing that, like, not smart enough person. Yeah, I'm not smart enough to be backstabby enough to get ahead. I guess that's what
That's
you're
not a
supposed to do.
backhanded insult. I promise. That really is, like, I think you've had your outs. I think you've had back doors open for you, and I don't think you've taken them.
No.
Oh,
And I
there's
appreciate
been
that.
fallout. There's been fallout because I refuse to take them or stay in them, and there's been huge fallout. So that keeps knocking me down the ladder instead of helping me crawl up the ladder. So yeah, there was probably a fast way, but I can't. I feel like
no,
being
we
two-faced
see
is way
it. At
too
this
stressful.
point, we can tell, like, yeah, we can tell that you're too real to be playing these kind of, like, mind tricks with other creators or something, or I don't know. Not saying that other people are doing that per se, but that's not who you are. So appreciate
you'll
that.
never
Respect.
make it. You don't have it in you.
Yeah, I don't.
doesn't.
It's too freaking stressful. I don't know how people do that. Just like I don't know how people, like, cheat on their significant others, because I'm like, well, that's twice the stress. Like the person you're definitely supposed to be dating, and whoever you got on the side. That's like, fuck that.
nah,
I don't know how people do shit like that. Like,
I don't agree with that at all.
just two faces. No, what I'm saying is I don't know how people
Please
keep up
expound, Mr.
appearances.
Autism.
A man cannot have only one woman friend from like 19 to 30 something.
Why aren't you shirtless while telling us this story?
One woman friend from 19 to 30
Yeah.
something.
You need to have, like, it's in a man's natural mindset to
Okay, well,
to
see,
want to
contrary to popular belief, I'm not a man. So I personally do not know how keeping multiple faces, keeping
They
up
always
appearances.
confuse,
I do personally do not know how keeping up multiple appearances is not stressful as fuck. Just being alive is stressful enough for me.
I mean, look at Mr. Autism. He's never stressed.
He drinks Bud
that's
Light,
true.
that's why.
Oh my.
That's a man whose beer has been discounted by 80%.
Oh shit. Yeah, no, I can't. I have a hard time finding a replacement beer over here because everybody's buying everything but that.
Yingling. Well,
That's what
yeah.
I did. That's what I went with was Yingling, and I got like the last. Like I had no Yingling options. It was just regular ass Yingling.
I mean, you can
What
move
size
to
cans do I
moonshine,
want? That's
can't you?
it. No, if I want to
The
move off a
moonshine
beer.
cellar? Oh, beer.
If I'm only looking for beer though, I was like, Jesus, fuck, my options are gone.
What?
Yeah,
None of y'all
I
do
don't-
Miller? I think Miller's pretty
Nah,
you know,
Miller.
trash.
Miller,
No?
dude, I
Like
like
good
trashy beer for
Absolute
for
Ribbon?
the sake of having trashy beer. But Miller was all gone. Like the only thing on the shelves is Budweiser and Bud Light and all their, I don't know, 50 flavors and
Even
shit,
the
whatever the fuck
Pabst
they're
is
doing.
gone?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
the worst you can get.
Yeah. No Coors either.
You have to get the 40 ounces, like John Malin. Start drinking St. Ides.
Yeah, mine
Colt
needs
45.
Well, you got to just settle for the Bud Light. I don't know.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That
Drink
was
the-
my go-to trash beer, but I'm like, no, I can change it. As soon as people stop buying all the other options.
Well, so speaking of things crawling up your ladder, Piper.
Wow.
So what's
Oh.
your take on the whole thing with Micah and taking possession of the characters, Peregrine?
Never let Micah crawl up your ladder. That's
Yeah. He's
yeah.
crawling way
Yeah.
up there.
Micah's the
He's your
Sleeveless.
shirtless twin.
The sleeveless, yeah. So they went and announced some stuff that I had been keeping to myself.
What's that? You can tell everybody.
Where the Peregrine money went and why
Apparently,
fulfillment
it's gone.
sucks. Yeah,
Did you
it's
give
gone.
it to fucking Luke?
No, I didn't get any. So their idea to try and get out of trouble with what they have done to me, they thought they
that?
could just hand the entire IP over to Micah. It's Micah's now. Nobody owes you anything. No. What they're doing is we didn't sign a contract at the beginning, neener. And we snatched up all this stuff and blocked your access to it. It's ours, and we're gonna say you never worked on it. Unfortunately, they have tons of they've privated them, but they have tons of public evidence of them saying exactly what work I did on the IP and the fact that there were 4 co-owners of the IP and I was one of them. They haven't bought me out, so I am still one of them. They have not bought me out or paid me for the work I've done. So I've gotten 0 anything out of Peregrine. The
That's
only thing I
crazy.
have, yeah.
You spent
the
like 2 years on that or something, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I did all the graphic design. I've listed it to them. So there's some emails back and forth that they claimed they wanted, this email is saying that we're keeping it private and it's only to the people CC'd in the email here and no one else. I was like, okay. Next thing I know, they're posting content from the emails in their update, and they've apparently told Micah a lot, but not all of the content of the emails. And I'm like, okay, so that privacy
Micah's
agreement.
gay as hell, bro.
Yeah.
Who is they when you keep saying the other
Graded
parties?
0.5. But now they're trying to say we're not graded 0.5 anymore either. So Xavier.
Graded 0.5 is gay as hell too.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to be cool.
Why aren't you
No, they were never
shirtless while
cool.
saying
You
this?
can-
Autism.
What's up?
Why aren't you shirtless while saying all these things?
Oh my gosh.
This is a tragedy.
Yeah. Take the hat off. There we go.
All
Shirtless.
right.
Get your
Shirtless-
Jewish hat.
Let's see the hair. Let the hair
Shirtless-
down. Mhm.
Shirtless tard.
I got a ponytail in.
Aw.
You.
Yeah.
You're so fucking gay.
Well, that is gay.
All right, now
So-
give us your opinions on things. Maybe we'll listen.
What?
Oh,
I
now
don't
he's
even
gonna
know
be
what question
quiet.
is anymore.
Oh.
Tell us your thoughts on graded 0.5 shirtless tard.
Well, they were always corny from the get-go, to be honest. Like you can tell, like there's a certain group of people
We need more nipples in the shot.
who can
Is it cold in there? It's
certain men will be men, and you can tell when people are like being gay men.
Read this
they're
comment,
not cool
Laura.
to hang out with. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Why is
Grade
Norman read this
5
on the
was
screen?
never anyone cool to hang out with. Leroy, what was his name? Lucius
Jenkins.
What?
What was the one who always had the college logo?
Oh, Leroy, that well-read killed.
Yeah, Leroy was corny as fuck. So like when you go to hang out at bars, you know like who you can fucking hang out with and chat with and shit like
Not
that.
well-read, yes.
Well-read goes to the wine bar. I'll be going to the wine
I do,
bar.
yeah.
If you want the once
Sit there with
upon
my
a
legs
time
crossed.
when
Tea
Matt
with
was
my-
talking about not being skeevy to climb the ladder, that is where I left graded 0.5 is when
Well,
they
that's like
decided
Patrick
that it was
Parnell.
very important for them to be skeevy and throw morals and principles out the window to try and get a leg up, and
Well, they
I
don't
walked
have-
away.
Like you're dealing like they don't have more.
I think I remember your tell-all stream from like a couple years ago. Something.
Yeah,
like
they
went
were doing
quiet for a while, and then
backroom-
you showed up. And,
Wow,
yeah.
this is the truth, well-read. Is this true?
Oh no.
Leroy stole the
Well-read was
Peregrine money, and well-read Anus killed him for the money.
Wow.
Hmm.
Nope, the head of graded 0.5 was the one in
Yeah.
charge of the campaign, and thus the money.
So they just
Spent the
kept that
money.
shit for 'em.
On not the book, and that is what held up
Like Critias.
shit. Fulfillment.
Well, he didn't
Like
really-
Nasser.
Fulfillment still isn't finished, but all I have after all the work I did, all the work that they have all admitted live that I've done, including Micah, back in the day.
Mika
His-
is gay.
Mika.
Mikachu.
I have one copy of Peregrine that was a print proof with a messed up spine. That is all I have to my name.
Well, you got to spend a lot of money to deal with that nonsense. All they wanted to do is possibly just take it from you. Like you don't
Yeah,
know.
they just wanted to. When I was like, no, I'm not playing these fucking backroom DM politics bullshit. Buy me out. I'm done. The first answer was we can't afford it right now, but we can afford to pay you for the work you did. And then they went, psych, we gave it all to Mika. We're not paying you shit. And Micah's not paying you shit, and it's his problem now, and he's not paying you shit. But you can have one of the characters back. The one that you did the most work on. You can have that character. And I'm like, oh cool. I'm a co-owner of the IP. You've told
this-
people
this
that
just goes to
publicly
show-
a million times.
Like people can't just this IP. Like none of these IPs exist in a vacuum. You're gonna have to sell the comic to get anywhere with it. And why do they think? Why do they think Micah is gonna sell the comic more than you? That's I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know how they think that IP is going to sell at all when everybody knows what the fuck they've done. But Micah Hardcore wants to make that crossover comic. And I do not know how in the hell he thinks that crossover is going to do that well when one of the IP holders, they publicly, proudly announced how they fucked me. So... I was keeping it on the down low, and then Micah was like making videos or something. I didn't actually watch them. I just saw some of the tweets people were sending me, so I told him to stop that. From Micah, going, no, look, here's proof that you admitted you're not charging me for editing my my reconstruction books, and I'm like, that's great, but also.
Jabba has his pants off, so he wants you to explain how they fucked you a little more in detail.
You don't have to entertain Jawa. He's a
Oh my
degenerate.
goodness.
Yeah, you've said backdoor plenty for him, so
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
got
Yeah.
enough to clip.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a book about goo, Jabba. You should read it.
yeah.
Yeah, she
Mm.
said goo like 5 or 6 times. So
Yeah, goo and backdoor. So I mean,
nope,
That's
clip it.
all you get, Jabba. Gooey backdoors.
gooey
Well, so-
backdoors.
You have all of this in like it's documented. Is it in DMs or emails or contractual anything?
So all of the DMs and emails that I have access to, because I started freaking dropping, like, before they pulled this, I was pulling out of all the group DMs I was in with any of them and shit like that. So there's a lot of crap I don't have access to, but all the crap that I do still have access to is saved. And they've said publicly, like I said, if they go through and delete it, the internet is forever. So if it comes down to it, they will have to cough up all the streams that they privated or whatever. Because there's tons of streams where they tell publicly everybody, I am a co-owner and
Good.
I did, and what work I actually did. That Micah is now saying I did not do. Micah wasn't even fucking there, so I don't know what makes him. All I can figure is that Xavier and what's left of the graded guys are keeping a lot of stuff from him because he's out there like going, yeah, we don't know Piper shit. Piper didn't do shit. And I'm like, well, apparently it was kept from you because yes, I did. And the proof used to be public till they privated it. So not only that, but in the private emails that they broke that privacy agreement on, it even says there, we're not buying you out because we can't afford it. Not because you're not a co-owner, because we can't afford it. But we'll pay you for the work you did. Nah, we're not doing that either. After their announcement, they were just like, nah, we're not even going to do that. I'm like, okay.
How did Micah enter the picture in all of this?
It started with the crossover, and we were all friends, and it was cool. Next thing I know, he's being included in the co-owner like group chats, and I'm not. Even though decisions were being made about the IP that was supposed to have all of us, agree to. Suddenly, Micah was in there in my place.
That's hot.
He was being let in on making decisions, and I would find out about the decisions having been made way after they were already made. And I would
We're
go,
talking
what
like
the fuck?
editing decisions, or
All sorts of
like-
decisions. Basically,
Mhm.
any decision involving the IP anymore, I was finding out when the backers were, or I was just finding out like way after they already acted on the decisions. When again, there should be a recording somewhere. It was supposed to be unanimous, or at least I think a majority vote. They didn't get a vote from me on any of the decisions they started making.
Micah's not amused
Mm.
by your telling of this story.
I
Yeah,
mean,
imagine you're telling him as you're recounting these events.
Yeah, tell Micah to his face how Peregrine was stolen from you.
Micah, pay me, buy me out, or right, buy me out of the IP ownership, or at least pay me for the work I did.
Okay, talk about 25% as fast so he can understand you.
Booga booga, Micah, me need pay. You break law. Me have
Could you
evidence.
Could you get Mandy to do this? Could you get Anna? I don't think so. Thank you, Piper.
This is the way you negotiate.
Right?
No.
Micah, you say you owe IP. That means you have to buy me out now.
Somehow I don't think he's convinced.
Nope.
Yeah.
The way he's saying what I don't owe her anything is because of I haven't done work for him. I mean, I have a little bit, but I said that went under the, well, that's just covered because I'm one of the IP holders. So I'm making sure that his shit that he wants to contribute is canon, basically, and makes sense, and everybody's in character, bullshit like that. So he's going, I don't know her anything. See, she says that I didn't have to pay her. I already have an editor, and blah 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 blah. I'm like, that's cool, but did they not show you all of those private emails they weren't supposed to show you to begin with? Because it seems so. Because even in those emails, they admit that I needed bought out, but that they couldn't afford to buy me out.
So there was a later point when you said that you'd work for free on the editing. Is that what you're saying?
No, I was saying that my work was supposed to be because I was a co-owner. Until I found out that Scott was paying himself, and he's a co-owner. But he was also paying himself for the work he was doing, and I was like, oh, okay, well then I at least need paid for the work I done.
This is new. This is new development. That makes sense. So you're thinking,
yeah, if we're gonna do
I don't
this,
need extra pay. I just need my co-ownership pay.
Yeah,
that wasn't clear.
No, they either need to buy me out of co-ownership, which costs more than paying me for the work I've done instead. If they choose to not buy me out but pay me for the work I've done, well, okay, I'll take it. And I'll fucking give up and walk away. But everybody is going to know that they did not buy me out. So they'll still look fairly bad for randomly saying psych.
To clarify, how much total money were you paid for the work you did on Peregrine?
0 so far.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. They have not paid me for the work. I did the work because they said I was a co-owner, and all the co-owners were, after everything was done, split whatever was left. But one of the co-owners stole all the money. And
when you say stole, though, like, was there money to steal? Like, or were they hiding it? Like, how exactly?
They spent it on their own shit instead of it's supposed to go to fulfilling the book. So then everybody started fulfilling the book out of pocket, except me, because at that point they were already not updating me that much, and I had to dig to get information on my own book.
Spending it on what?
Dark gift.
What did they spend it on?
Well, it says in the Peregrine update, it was spent on like bills and this and that, for the person that was supposed to be giving it for or using it to fulfill the book.
Hey, DG.
What's going on?
Did you want to,
man?
Did you want to give?
A real man is here.
Those nipples are super erect now, aren't they, J Dollar?
Woo!
Did you want to give your take on Rift Riders? Since
no, I don't want to disrupt the conversation. Keep it going. It's cool. No,
I would love off of this conversation.
So Luke Stone is a better partner. He's a better teammate to be working with, right?
I learned a lot from getting fucked over by the reconstruction and the Peregrine shit. I learned a lot. Contracts. I don't care if they're your conjoined twin contracts.
How lucrative is a property, Peregrine?
No, now. Somebody made off with $20,000 that they spent on themselves.
Well,
you know how you turned the whole situation on its head, right?
Tell us, Anthony.
Well, you just basically say whoever owns the legal and financial responsibilities of the IP owes me money.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is go, you need to now talk to the dude that blew $20,000 of the money.
But that's not how it works. So the whole thing is there was prior owners, which was you and the other 4 guys.
On the
Now
3, yeah.
No, 3 guys. Now there's a singular owner, and I doubt that they have in their contract. I doubt they even have a contract. But if they do, I doubt that Micah was smart enough to put in a clause saying I do not take on financial or legal responsibilities prior to me taking ownership of the IP.
I think they probably did because they knew they were.
Well, if they
trouble.
did, then you get to take 3 other people to court, or you get to take 1 person to court. But that's how you turn it
out. All that fucking money. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, watch them start. I mean, just put it out there, and we'll just watch them start going at each other.
They start trying to make money, which I don't think they'll try and do, because Mika is retarded as shit. So, my camera's not.
I really liked these guys a lot too. Like, I considered them all like my brothers. Like, so out of everybody, them doing that. Yeah, he was.
Wow. Clip that.
He was.
Again?
Yeah. That's why I kept getting fucking these really hateful messages from them whenever Testify would talk to me and I would like acknowledge his existence.
Well, you were
It's
one of
he
the
was right.
earlier women who wasn't like an Anna, so they felt like it was like you were just someone to fuck with.
Yeah.
That's just what
I guess I'm a pushover, y'all. Like, I don't have it in me to fucking, I don't know, man. Like, pull this kind of shit. I'm really happy with who I'm working with now. It sucks that I had to learn this way from, like I said, people that, like, I cared about so much that they were just my family. They were my brothers, like, from other mothers and shit. Like, for them to do this, it's just so fucking low. But, yeah. I know the trademark was under Graded Media. So in their little announcement, Graded Media is now only Wayne's, which is Optipop, which is the one that blew the money that was for Peregrine fulfillment. I'm assuming that they are moving the trademark, but we were all Graded Media. Like, that was basically what we co-owned also, sort of. But yeah, no. They're basically trying to pull you didn't sign a contract, neener, neener, neener. We don't know your shit. But my name's on the book, even though you only put it as editor, which was kind of a dick move. And made sure to put Xavier's fake name on there like 5 million times. That still implies that I did work.
Emails are written agreements.
Yep.
That
Yep.
You can are permissible in court.
And things
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I had a screenshot of the original campaign page, because they did change it on the campaign page too.
Are you serious?
Just way back machine it if you can.
No, I did. I tried looking for. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that is shit. That is such shit.
Well, the Wayback Machine only worked if like someone took a screenshot and uploaded it to the Wayback
God
Machine.
damn it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe
like,
an old
it-
live stream, you know.
And I have to email you a bunch of that stuff, Piper.
What are you going to email me?
That's so dirty.
Well, I'll send you the pictures I was going to send Piper now, but
Ooh.
I found some streams where you guys talk about it. So
There are. I
Good.
think you were on Cecil stream once, and I'm sure
Mhm.
the
Well,
campaign
Piper,
was
you
showing
gotta
all
understand.
over
I
that.
know, my bad, Pepsi. I didn't mean to interrupt you. First time you talked in 2 hours. Like these people will, like, you don't know where they're from or who they are. They will purposely set you up to take your shit. So, like,
That's the thing. I know where they're from.
No. Well,
That's what's killing me. Is
I
like,
mean, literally.
no,
they-
but I mean, yeah, but
They will come here just to fuck people over. That's just fucking how it is. Like, that's how certain people are. Like, you may
What
think
sort of
they're
people, Jay Dollar?
Gooey backhole people.
I know JDA still
Like
has
a-
evidence of when Micah went to his pay protected Discord and told everybody in his Discord not to associate with me.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah.
You
Can
can
I
say
share-
it, J Dollar. Say it.
Can I share something, Well Red?
No.
Yeah, go for it.
No. 2 verse 1.
Matt C, vote yes.
Yes.
There we
You
go.
fucking motherfucker.
Yeah.
So they took Piper's
Oh, wow.
name off of here.
They did.
Yeah, they did it. They did it as early as late 2021, which is when all that shit started to roll downhill. As according to the Wayback Machine, which means somebody over there
Fucking wow.
saved this version to the Wayback Machine in October of 21.
And my fucking work is still all over it, though.
Yeah, your name is mentioned briefly. Still down here somewhere.
Wow.
I forget where. But yeah, it's down here somewhere.
That's fucking dirty. I'm Peregrine's voice, for fuck's sake. I wonder if I can still find that contract.
Oh, maybe.
Which one?
There's a contract to
Yeah,
license her out.
Your
Oh,
only
that's still
mention,
there.
is this.
Wow.
Which is why would you do that if you weren't part of the campaign?
Exactly. Why the fuck would I do that for something that was not mine?
Right.
I wouldn't
That's
do that for something that I just edited. Like, you know, it would
that-
definitely have to be part mine for me to do something like that.
That's your only mention on the whole campaign page, as compared to
But
what
they're
it was.
using
when it
all my
first went out.
graphics all over the fucking campaign here still. My voice is Peregrine's voice. There was a time we needed to license out. I think I have an unsigned version though. Remember the video game that like was supposed to be getting made and then just disappeared? There was a video game and this person asked if they could use Peregrine and they asked me multiple times. I was asked for permission to use Peregrine for stuff. Why would they ask me? Because I was listed as a co-owner.
Mr. Tism, what do you have to say for yourself? Causing all of these problems.
All men
That
are
is-
here. All men are here to screw women. No man is in a business realm there for posterity of friendships.
But well read is no man.
Yes. How do you explain
He's
that?
a gay man.
It's a
So
paradox.
Yeah, I have 5 clips, Piper.
5 clips. It's not just me saying it though, right? It's them.
I'll find
Yeah,
the
well, it's either them or them co-signing what you're saying.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I didn't know if I was going to be able to find that shit. Yeah. So I don't know. Micah can keep spouting off about whatever the fuck he's spouting off about, but
See, it pays to be a stoner. I was home, bored, and stoned. I went through a bunch of old.
I've been a
Graded
drunk this
5.
whole time. Just wasting my life.
Dark Comics is like the hero
Oh, he's
No,
the
he's not.
archive.
CG
No, he's
hero
not.
of CG legal problems. I fucking
He's scary with the receipts.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah.
Bitch, I got this in a folder dated.
He's got stuff from like 20 years ago, you know.
But
Before
you
there was
should
even-
you should be able to see the original campaign when you on like Cecil's and Ethan's. I'm sure they scrolled through it many times. So
Yeah.
That's true,
From their
too.
stream, you should be able to see the first version of the.
I
But
didn't
that, and if
campaign
it really
version.
if it really comes to that, though, can't when evidence is getting collected, like by the lawyers in the courts and stuff, can't they get older versions of the campaign from Indiegogo?
there's discovery, so anything
Discovery.
that exists, can be
Yeah.
collected.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it depends on what Indiegogo does leak. Like YouTube has a backup server, so anything that you delete off YouTube, even when they say it's permanently deleted, it's not. It's on a backup server in case some legal shit comes up and some lawyer requests it. They can go and then give it to them. Does Indiegogo do the same thing? I don't know.
Okay.
That's something that you got to find out. Or a lawyer would find out. Yeah.
But still, there'll be tons of the very public, or previously very public, YouTube. Stuff.
As far as I'm aware,
And the emails.
Cecil streams are still up. Ethan may or may not have them, but I'm sure you could ask him and he could give it to you if you need it.
Jabba, I always knew
Don't
Testify
tell
was
me.
right. Problem was he was being a dick and putting me in a bad situation.
Well, that's
Problem is
Testify.
when people say
Yeah,
Testify's
that's-
right, it's because he just attacks everybody indiscriminately, and at some point he's going to
Sometimes he
right.
nails it.
Yeah, but most of the time he's wrong. But sometimes he's right. So
Now, the bigger problem was
Exactly.
the way behind the scenes Graded and Micah were treating me for Testify just so much as showing up in my chat and shit. Like, that's when Micah went and to his Discord and told everybody there not to associate with me the first time. And JDA outed it.
Yeah, that was some early 2021 stuff, wasn't it? Something
Yep.
like that.
Yep. Basically, right after the book finished,
you're muted.
the
Tism.
campaign finished, they were like, all right, now we're going to squeeze
Why do you forgive
Micah
the
in
other
here
men?
and Piper out. See what?
Why do you forgive the other men but not JDA?
Why do I forgive the other men but not JDA? JDA was
Shut up.
never on the book.
Like the ones who did worse to you, you said things that would constitute that, like, you don't really hold a grudge, so to speak.
What?
Well,
What?
in the meantime, while Jay Dollar reformulates his question,
While we
let's read
ponder the
KSS.
What?
infinite-
JDA
Infinite
wasn't a
mystery
part of this.
of
JDA just happened to publicly release that shit that Micah was doing, and that's how I learned about it. That's the only way I knew Micah was doing it. Otherwise, yeah, JDA has nothing to do with
No, what
Any
I'm
of it.
saying, weren't you talking negative about him earlier?
no JDA. No,
Yeah.
KSS
He's over there
says, well
doing
read
JDA stuff.
goes by well read because, as he said, and I quote, it sounds better than Barley literature asshole reviews.
It says literate, but it does say barley.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm not literate, so that's the problem here.
He's not dead. He's DEDJEC.
Yeah, if we're talking about like Testify instead of JDA, then no, I'm still not happy about Testify, but I'm not happy about.
But he's dead. Why haven't you forgiven him in some respect?
He wouldn't have wanted it that way.
Well, I get
Hmm.
it, but like the ones that screwed her over, you get what I mean? Like,
No, I haven't forgiven him because he has flat out just told me I'm just a target. And shit.
being more honest.
And he
than-
made it. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna fucking be nice to somebody that's like, no, you're a target, and I'm gonna make your life miserable, even though I know they're making your life miserable already. I'm gonna make it more miserable.
Testify forgives you. Jabba says so.
I hope so.
Okay, well, I mean, he's DAD. I forgive him now, but if he was not, then I would still be like, no, but still, fuck you, dude.
Jabba's in
So how's
communion
that?
with the afterlife,
How's that?
specifically the very hot part of it. Why do we hear voices coming from your background there, Mr.
This is my daughter on her computer.
Hmm. Are you about to be thrown out of your home and sent to Tampa to live on a beach?
With Ahmed.
I wanted to know what Anthony thought about the book, not
Yeah, Dark Gift. Let's get your final thoughts.
knowing that I have more
Let's
receipts.
get your biased
is good
opinion,
too, though.
Dark Gift.
Yeah, I see you throw your friend under the bus here.
Woo!
Oh, you
Where'd he
left.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I just didn't realize I was still muted. I apologize. My thoughts on oh my god, I almost said Peregrine. On Riff Riders.
He didn't even read it. Wow.
No, I did. Not too
What a
dissimilar from what was already said, so I'll just keep it basic. I think Piper's writing was pretty spot on. I was surprised to at the flow and stuff. I mean, I never read anything that she wrote. I knew she could edit, you know. Dillard's style choice here was a little off for me. I think it's because I know his other stuff. I think that might be it. I think it's because I've seen him draw other stuff. Like, I think if this was the first thing I seen, I'd be fine with it. But other than that, I mean, it was still good. I mean, it fit the tone of the book.
And I think it and the colors are going to tighten up as we go too.
Yeah, the colors were a little lackluster,
especially the grays.
I'm not sure Dillard can get any tighter though. So.
I'm sitting here like they're inside the ship. The inside of the ship is gray.
Well, it wasn't all the gray. It was only some of the grays that we couldn't see.
Only Mr. Chisholm could see them.
So, yeah. So I guess I'm in the same ballpark as everybody else.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I think his art will tighten up as he gets used to. He's the one that proposed that style, like we described, and then we wanted to see his take on it. So he actually did a page test, and he gave the page back, and we were like, "Well, holy shit, yeah!" But it does loosen here and tighten there, and the point was like the important scenes were the ones that are going to be really detailed and stuff. I think he's not used to drawing in that style still. As well, and I think it'll all tighten up and have a little more consistency as he goes. But I can't speak for him, so I don't know.
It's important to have a good script that can warm you up to the art style, you know, as it goes along, because you're like, okay, I'm not sure about these characters, but then the script helps you like the characters. That's usually, I think, what most people's experiences are. So, as long as the script stays strong for future issues,
that is how
he's
I've
got
gotten
room.
into some books that I didn't like the art style. Like, I wouldn't have picked up the book just based on it.
Yeah.
But then it'd be recommended to me a whole bunch, and I go, okay, fine. That's how I've gotten into them.
See, Piper,
okay,
that was a back door
selling me.
That was a back door for you to get up. I was giving you a way out, and you didn't take it.
I don't want up your back door. What the fuck?
PSS.
She's the real one.
His known comment for you, well read.
Oh, it's been edited. Well read goes by well read because, as he said, and I quote, "It sounds better than barely literate asshole reviews." Edited by Piper.
Oh, by Piper.
You're welcome.
I can't pay you for that work. I spent all the money paying my bills, so I'm sorry.
Making Testify Was Right t-shirts is I wear it.
Oh my gosh. Could you dance in that? Could you do like a July 4th dance in that?
I want
Okay. If I
internet.
get a Testify Was Right shirt for real, because I ain't buying one of them fuckers, but if I end up with one, I will.
Do you have a P.O. box? Someone can send you one?
Make sure it's nice and tight. I used to. Okay, not super tight, but you know, like form fitting. So the dance is even better. Then I will make time to make a stream where I drink like a whole bottle of my favorite shit, because that'll usually make me dance. And I got to figure out how to have room to dance. I basically would have to just get rid of my computer chair entirely from.
I think Jabba
I'd have
would
to stand
be
the whole time.
happy if you also wore a Broke Quack Melton shirt when you danced. I love that.
Am I just gonna like layer on a bunch of shirts and dance
Yeah,
and start
we're
taking
gonna-
off the shirts?
We're gonna send you T-shirts to dance in. It's a new marketing campaign we've got going.
That's just gonna be a segment now, like on the weekend or something. Like
Piper's T-shirt dancing.
Just
Maybe
wear a
instead of-
green shirt, and then we'll just switch out the green with whatever's campaign is for the week.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, I need a plain green shirt.
I don't know, the dancing is good cardio. Why not just do a new dance every week?
Well, you know what? I don't have to live stream that either. I could just record a video where I actually have room to dance, like outside or some shit. It's a tiny apartment.
Question the Dark Gift.
Dark Gift wants KSS wants to know from Dark Gift what is his thoughts on John Malin's heinous attack on Wednesdays and the CG slums.
Yeah, I was kind of offended too. I can have the F-It show, but it's not necessarily a comic book show. Kind of is.
Dark Gift not around for comment again.
No. Sorry.
Perthy started letting girls on the Comic Skate Kings, so I didn't see the point.
He actually responded, which was kind of funny. He's playing along with the whole "it's war" thing, so that's cool.
Nice. What did he say?
Because I said it was in the first tweet, and I was like, apparently John Malin has slighted the CG slumlords.
Yeah.
He says there's no Comic Skate streams on Wednesdays, and then I went, "You were on the show, John," in all caps. And he quote tweeted it with just a GIF, and I forget who it is, and it just says, "For me, it was
Tim
Tuesday."
Bison from
For me, it was
Combat.
For me, it was Tuesday.
I was like, "This is war." So,
but it was Tuesday,
actually,
so it wasn't Wednesday.
No, it was Wednesday.
It was Tuesday for him.
He's fucking around. It was Tuesday for him.
He's just messing around.
But also, Reedy has a Wednesday show too. That's like promoting books.
Oh, another.
Yeah, that's like once a month though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They promote books over there. Those girls promote books. I don't know about that.
Reedy has a show called The
they're...
Round Table, and she brings on like 4 or 5 like smaller creators.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's not every Wednesday though.
Malin's smart. I'm glad he didn't.
At the end of Malin's stream a while ago, he wondered if anyone else was streaming to send his 800 viewers. He didn't even mention you were live. Well read.
He isn't.
What a jerk.
Tear fell down my eye.
But yeah, Pert, that's why I didn't do CG Queens, was because the Queens were going on the King's show anyway, so it seemed redundant to me.
The CG Queens, I believe all of them are queens, aren't they?
Yeah.
Clip that.
Yeah. But this queen stayed in the slums.
Yeah.
We respect that.
Aw.
Dollar does.
It was more fun down here.
Yeah, we get to say what we
Billboard
want.
Advertising Company. That's it, man. I'll just make that a side gig. You want to promote something, put it on a shirt. I'll dance in it, make a video, and then you can put whatever the fuck music you want to it.
Well, we hit the 2-hour mark, and I think we hit all the key topics for the night. So.
That's well read saying get out.
Okay, bye.
Well, I try to wrap at 2 hours for the reviews. But
no, but for real, thank you for reading my books. My book.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So
thanks for writing it. Thanks for sending it to us. It was a great read.
Oh, I'm glad. I can't wait to see what everybody thinks of Merkmaid, because like I said, I'm making sure that it's just completely different direction.
I think besides multi-site campaigns, I think Merkmaid is the second highest on Fund My Comic behind Kelsey's book.
Can a nigga get a pencil?
I haven't looked in a while since we just barely lost the race to 10K.
I think everything else is summing multiple websites, so I think you're just behind Kelsey.
Nice. I know. I know. I made myself feel better because the book we lost to had a Fox News segment. We couldn't compete with that.
Oh,
that's right. That was a buy one back one thing, wasn't it? 10K was the cutoff, right?
Oh yeah, I was gonna explain the buy one back one. The reason there was like a little bit of what the fuckery about Rift Riders being promoted on Ethan's stream was because me and Bunny, we were told that we were invited on there specifically to explain his buy one back one. And then I found out that what I thought buy one back one was, which made sense to me, is not even what he meant. And I was like, okay, I'm dropping it then. But at the time, I thought buy one back one meant what I kept saying it meant. And I thought we were invited on there specifically to talk about it, but Ethan let us get like a couple words out and then pulled up Rift Riders. And I had a lot of fun there. For a while, we kept trying to finish explaining Buy One, Back One, but it felt like I'm not in Ethan's head, and I'm not gonna bite the hand that helped me promote my book. So
No, no one would. Like, I think it was obvious. If I remember that stream right, now that you're helping me recall it, you were like, this is another example where someone else might have seen that opportunity and said, okay, Ethan wants me to shill, I'm gonna shill. You showed up and you didn't shill, and you got a little frustrated because you actually wanted to talk about the topic, and everybody knew, like, you're showing up on the you're not just calling him on the phone, you're showing up on his show, on his shill show. You're gonna shill, and so he's gonna shill for you, and that was fine, you know. But it's kind of funny that you didn't bait and switch, I guess, by saying, oh yeah, no, I actually just want to talk about this. Now that you mention it, let me go on for 20 minutes about this comic. You didn't do that, which is kind of well, you're a real one, so you could have taken that opportunity and you didn't.
By the time like Bunny, I guess, gave up and left, that's around the time that I gave up on talking Buy One, Back One, and was just like, okay, well, I'm here for the little music video he keeps playing.
But I still don't know what Buy One, Back One means.
So, I thought it was something neat. It was just supposed to be kind of like an initiative where,
people promote smaller campaigns specifically or something, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like while you're here, while you're on Indiegogo, to get the Cyberfrog or any of the other like former mainstream dudes books. Here are some that are struggling, books that are already funded or over 10K. Basically, here are some that are under 10K. Take a peek while you're there.
Okay, so buy a famous person's comic and then back some smaller comic.
Buy a funded comic.
Like the buy local Saturdays.
Yeah. And so the hashtag was supposed to be for listing off those campaigns. It would promote one big already funded campaign, and it would be like, and now check out these that are under 10K. And then there was a little race to 10K thing among the smaller ones before the Fund My Comic race to 10K thing.
So the point was you were trying to just shill everyone's book and promote all their books. It's like, here, promote your own book. Is what
he was like, let's pull up Rift Riders and look at it. And I didn't pull up Rift Riders. I can't remember if I eventually did or if Ethan did on his own, but I thought I was there. I was told that I was invited there to talk and explain Buy One, Back One. Because when you're going just off of tweet text, you're going to take that however the hell you're going to want to take that versus somebody verbally saying it. And I felt confident enough in my ability with words to explain it better than it was being explained. It turns out I was just interpreting it better or something. I don't know. I ended up ditching it because I was like, okay, no, this is not what I thought it was.
Kind of like a $J review. It's not what you think it is, but you just go with it.
Good at bringing attention to smaller campaigns. That's what I thought it was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be like, hey, check this out. Now check these out that are under, while you're there, check these out that are under 10K that you might not have ever heard of. Since you're here for this one.
It became a bit of, if I remember, that Bunny Guy's video was a little like grumpy about the Kings. Yeah. And then I think that's why you were, that was the premise for you coming up on Ethan's show, if I remember right, was like, is this like a Kings versus Slums issue?
Yeah.
Like where there's a civil war going on? And that's not how you saw it, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was kind of, he was explaining it really shittily. It did sound like he had a chip on his shoulder, like, and I was like, no, this is a good idea here. You just not explaining it well. So I thought I was up there to do that.
Should have got Jay Della as your spokesman. Then it would have been explained
Yeah.
perfectly. I mean, look
The,
at you could explain
the little bit of
anything.
controversy part came in where a ton of people were like, "Oh, okay, she was all for about they were all about the buy one back one until Ethan started promoting their book, and now I'm like, no, that's yeah. There's some people translating the situation wrong, so I had to
it
keep
was
saying,
also mixed up with Liam stuff. Yeah, I assume that got confused then.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Who's the bunny guy that you're talking about?
The what?
Who's the bunny guy that you're talking
A
about?
telepathic bunny.
Okay.
He's an older dude. He just comes off really grumpy and negative. And I think it's just, he's really passionate about the stuff that he is really passionate about. But it publicly, like, it does not come out right.
What is his issue with the Kings? Why was there drama?
He didn't
there?
actually have an issue with the Kings. It just came off that way. That was the problem that we were having. But yeah, I kept referring people to the thread where I was invited on Ethan's show. And I'm like, the thread says, hey, do you want to come on and talk about it? About buy one, back one. I'm like, it did not say, hey, you want to come shill Rift Riders.
Interesting.
I even felt bad about Ethan because, like, that was his way. The impression I got was like he was thinking. I mean, we're all just kind of like trying to get into his head, but it just seemed like he was like, well, how do I fix problems? I bring people on the show and I help them raise money for their campaigns, especially when they haven't hit the mark yet. They haven't even funded yet, you know? So let me help out. Like, she's an OG, like, you know, the you know, her team are built out of OGs. Like, let's hook them up. And then he found out he made the situation worse in a way with the drama, at least. And I think he just kind of checked out after that and said, okay,
yeah,
we have
I tried.
Request from chat that this be read.
Well read, hypothetical. You have to take an American road trip, planes, trains, and automobile style. You have either
starring John Candy.
Yes. So I quite identify with that movie. You have to either ride with Ted Bundy
and a
pretend he's
Canadian
still alive, or TJ. Who do you pick?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh man, Ted Bundy.
Yeah, Jack, I took it as an olive branch.
The question is, do you have to go to a urinal on that ride or not?
Oh man.
Oh.
Well, one of them is gonna, like, you know, grape you and eat you, and the other
one is Ted Bundy.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, it was there. Come on.
Gosh.
Send TJ the link. I want to know his opinion on this question.
Oh, man.
It was right there. You can't. That's low hanging fruit. You can't not. It's like a kumquat. You gotta steal it.
I like the hot takes, Piper. Like, you shouldn't ever have to apologize, honestly. For
I always have to apologize, dude.
No,
I fucking
never,
if somebody is
never.
always mad at me.
Honestly, if there's anybody who comes up to you with their panties in a bunch, just say, dude, you know, grow a pair, and tell them to F off. So
Yeah.
I'll say
I do
F
sometimes.
off well read.
exactly. No, never apologize.
Yeah,
People need to
Ted Bundy was a threat to women, I believe, not dudes. So
Ted Bundy, wasn't he gay? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
You're thinking of somebody else.
You're
I
thinking of
think
someone
there's
else.
another one. Yeah, there's another one that he was
clown
dangerous.
guy,
with
I
dudes.
think.
Yeah, the
Jeffrey
clown
Dahmer.
guy was
Jeffrey
dudes.
Dahmer.
Yeah,
Dahmer.
Yeah,
Well, that was
Dahmer
gay
was.
too, yeah.
Dahmer was dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Bundy was chicks.
Okay.
Who's the guy Ethan likes from the...
What?
What?
I don't know.
Well, to be fair, he likes a lot of them. But like the one from the 90s where they had the documentary series.
That's
Anyone?
like all of them.
Yeah, you're right.
The Sopranos?
Yeah, exactly.
Gacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Wayne
No.
Gacy, thanks.
That was the clown, I think, right?
Yeah. He was gay.
Gacy and Dahmer were the yeah.
Mr. Autism knows. He dated both of them.
This conversation went from an all ages book down to who's favorite serial killer.
Yeah, sorry. Well, Red, you were trying to wrap
I
this
love
up
this.
15 minutes ago.
My bad.
Yeah.
And
No worries. So
I
put-
had
no,
fun.
We did too. Thanks, Piper. It's great having you. All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Big
I want to
announcement.
hear Jay Dalla's final thoughts.
Final
He gave
thought.
us final thoughts.
No, on the stream.
Oh, Jay Dollar, what's your final thoughts on the stream?
It was all right. It's kind of corny.
That was the same as the book.
Damn, bruh.
yeah.
I have an original thought, Jay Dollar. Big announcement. We've got Eric July coming on for an interview July 13.
Oh shit.
Oh, come on. For real?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
What?
Congrats.
So yeah, that's going to be a
Special. I'm gonna get invited to that show.
Please have Jay Dollar as a co-host. That'd be wonderful.
only if he can make his nipples talk and ask Eric July questions.
Wait,
That
I want
black
to come
man-
on. I'm the one that keeps telling him I'll be his editor every time I see him in my feed.
It's got to be Twitless and J Dolla. I think they're a great tag team.
I think it's one-on-one. I think it's
Polar
just me and
opposites.
Eric.
Oh,
Mm.
Elsie wants to be there too.
Elseed wants to be there. Stop listening out, well read. Send me the link. You can have the link in the call-in show, Unzipped. So, but otherwise, yeah, that's the next thing coming up. Other than that, I think next book. Why do I want to say it's Cash Grab? But I'm not 100% sure. We'll see.
be nice.
I don't know, because you asked me if I wanted to do Cash Grab and then never got back to me.
Yeah, I dropped the ball. I was trying to
There's
get
another
somebody.
book you should do first.
Which book is that? We probably talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I got to go back in my DMs and sober up too. But no, Cash Grab, I was trying to get like a special guest reviewer.
Yeah, we need that special guest. Can't do without that special guest.
Well, they're not
Me?
coming. So yeah,
I'm the only special guest y'all have.
Now I want to know who the special guest is.
it was somebody I was DMing back and forth with, but that's not going to work out. So
Ethan makes him boring. Don't fucking invite Ethan.
it wasn't
Well,
going
then
to.
ask the other special guest. I guess he said no too, though.
John.
All the special
No.
guests say no.
Well, they're smart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they know who to reject.
John
If they
John
think
did
that
his
was-
job a long time ago. He almost sunk this entire show, if I remember right.
They're all
John.
punk ass.
Caused the
bitches.
Civil War.
John Malin.
Yeah, Malin.
What did he do?
The Australian guy never wanted to talk to you again after you brought John Malin on.
The Australian guy?
The pug.
Pug.
Oh,
Oh,
wow!
that's
I
what-
haven't heard about him.
That's a blast from the
name.
past.
Yeah, in like 50 years.
Well, Malin coming on got Vicky's panties in a bunch, and that just spread everywhere. So
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, her
And the
panties are
pug
pretty
was
wide.
up in those panties. Yeah.
I mean, and they're granny panties, so you figure
Yeah.
there's some room to move.
Did you stop
Yeah.
talking about Vicky's panties?
fumes, the fumes.
You could
guys.
spread those pretty far, man. You could probably
Bro,
fit
I
a
would
bunch of
let
people
her rub
underneath
my
it.
feet. She could rub my
They were
feet.
talking about it in Japan.
Pug is a
Darko says-
retard.
This is Pug's voice. Pug is married or getting married or something.
He's retarded. Who cares?
You
So-
want to say that, Jay Dalla?
Don't worry,
I
Jabba.
just said it.
That's why I didn't come on when Red first sent me the link. I was busy working on a
No, you weren't.
lot of things. Yeah, I was.
Have
It
you
was.
finished the pitch for Hunting Alice?
I had a 45-second pitch that everybody forgets about because of friggin' Aubie.
Well, it's her book. Of course we remember that one.
Well, I mean, I think everybody remembers that one because it was a 3-hour-long pitch.
And she got catty with
It was.
Ellie. That was fun.
God damn it.
Yeah, bring her back. That was fun. But make sure her phone doesn't work.
We still need to ask her in-depth questions about her writing process and
China
So-
Ferrari sex orgy death crash. That really is one fucking hell of a headline.
Anyway, so everybody, be here for the Eric July interview, and stay tuned
Smug
for
Pog will be co-host for that.
for
I'm not showing up.
for future reviews. Until then,
With Smug
thank
Pog.
you, everybody. Thank you, reviewers. Thank you, Piper. Thank you, Dark Gift.
Thank y'all.
And have a good night.
Gay.